Hey, thanks for tuning in. I'm doing the Kate as a buddy build with Alex at Man's Model Moments. Link to the unboxing and his channel in the description. The instructions start you with the engine section. Here are some engine pictures I found online. Alex started his a little bit before I did, so I benefited from some tips on this section. The main one being the instructions don't alert you to critical points in the build. As we found, if you get anything wrong, it'll affect indexing downstream. Plastic quality is excellent, very little cleanup. I'm not sure there's any part where the indexing is symmetrical. The intention is good, but they don't always convey it in the instructions. That did not want to lay flat in the center. I went around cementing and clamping the inside. Then I cemented and clamped around the cylinders. The rear bank fit together just fine. After priming, I covered in AK Extreme Duraluminum. While that cured overnight, I prepped the other parts. Cleaned it up with Mr. Dissolve putty. These three parts are going to be covered with Aotaki Metallic Blue. That will stay that. These will be a combination of pale burnt metal and exhaust manifold. How you put the valve covers on is critical, especially on the rear bank. I locked them in and then touched up with black Flexi 5K CA glue. With 28 gauge wire, I made the ignition runs with these general dimensions in millimeter. At the end, I used clear CA glue for the ignition ring. The image they show you in the instruction is different from the part, so I had to guess which way was what. I started here and worked my way around. 4 of the covers, E38 and E39, have a notch in the back for the frame. Rough dimensions for the ignition wires for the rear bank. Only goes on one way in the back. It's very important how you orient this. The frame pieces are not symmetrical, especially on the back of the stool-like piece. Just dry fit it around and you'll get it. A little pin wash of AK grease, blended with some white spirits. Dry brushing some Tamiya flat aluminum. I painted and dry brushed that, but it'll be hidden forever. I have some panel touch-up to do later before painting. But this step is done. Now for the cockpit, which I enjoyed a lot more. They have you thread a cable here, but you can't see this in the end. The indexing is also excellent, no fit issues. You do have to deal with depressions on several parts. Seat belts will cover most of that bucket. The protrusions touch, leaving 3 hollow tubes. The instructions aren't great at showing you exactly how parts fit. The chair legs sit on those 2 stubs on the deck. I bought a set of acrylic 3D decals for the kit, so I needed to remove the plastic where the decal goes. The control stick. In several instances, I attached with extra thin, and then once I know it's correct, I added CA glue. I originally intended to use the decals and clear piece that came in the kit. In the end, I used the 3D decal. That needs to be removed. That needs to be filled. This one was big enough, you have to deal with it. These need to be cleaned up for the 3D decals. They give you a facade for the pouch, but the kit ones are perfectly fine. That's all cleaned up now. That surface fits flush against the notch, so we'll attach this at the end. Orient that so that it's flush with the ribbing. I didn't notice these until I was just ready to paint. And I still missed one. I primed everything with Mr. Surfacer 1500. 50% Mr. Color Leveling Thinner, then a coat of AK Extreme Duraluminum, with an Iwata Eclipse .35 at 18 psi, then Mr. Color Nakajima Cockpit Green. I used a 3000 grit sponge to wear off some cockpit green from the edges and raised surfaces. Then an awl to make some scratches. You don't see too much of the deck once everything is in. Next, I give everything a metal look with Vallejo Dark Steel pigment. Now I can do some detail painting, mainly hoses and wires. A pin wash of AK Cockpit Interior Wash. Cut 50% with VMS Universal Carrier. This is all pretty much done now. One side faces down and can't be seen. I cleaned up one side and painted it on the sprue. I got these from Quinta. You apply these like regular decals, except you do not use a softener after. They water release off the paper, and you put a setting solution or PVA glue on the part. There's those pouch decals I was talking about. Love the seatbelt decals that came as well. Again, just tacking it in with extra thin CA glue once everything is set in place. Some .028 inch or 30 gauge wire. It notches in like that. It looks precarious, but it stayed in place just fine. This is now ready to install. The instructions don't give you a part painting guide. These are the important indexing points. You add that little half-moon piece before adding the other side. Very enjoyable so far. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please be sure to check out Alex's first episode as well. Thanks for watching. Be well and happy modeling.